I don't know anything about any of the stuff I'm talking about because I've barely ever taken the wrapper off of any of it. Or at least that's what a lot of you would like to think, but the story within these walls here at Carry Commission is very different. My name is Taylor Martin, this is Deep Cuts, and let's do the damn thing. All right, let's start with show and tell, just to further perpetuate the fact that I'm only talking about new things and not using my gear. I want to show you some new stuff. So let's start with the knife that I've actually had in my pocket and has been my primary knife since it arrived, which was actually one day after I sliced my hand open. Oh yeah, I don't even know if we've done a deep cut since that happened. I cut my hand open with an axe. Was not very smart. It was an accident. I did it right here at this desk. I got 5 stitches and it's healing up fairly nicely, but I've got this little catch in my finger. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Anyway, the day after that happened, I got this knife in the mail. I can actually flip a knife again, which is a development. 2 days ago, I could not flip a knife with my index. So we are progressing. We're progressing. Anyway, this is the Arnaud Bernard Turrico. It's the first button lock knife from Arnaud Bernard, South African maker. Really cool stuff. It's like, I don't know if they like or dislike this comparison. They might dislike it just because of the Imamba, but this feels like if a Sabenza was brought into 2025. Sabenzas are great. I love Chris Reeve knives. It's one of my favorite knife companies in the world, but this just feels like that if it were a button lock. That's exactly what it feels like. So that is praise, no matter how they want to take that. I think it is praise. I'm complimenting them. I think this is a really nice knife. It came in this box. There was also a pin. There's another box. I have subsequently lost the pin. I think it's in a bag at home. It's not here today, unfortunately. It also came with this Frank Hanks, which is really neat. The pin was matching. So there was a little cap on the pin that matched the inlay on this knife. And since this is a South African company, if you would like to get them here in the US, you need to go to African Sporting Creations. As you can see, it is right here on the front. So this is actually the Imamba. You can see here, there are additional, and then there's the pin as well. So the Assegai, I don't know how these are pronounced. South African words, I can't do it. I think Turrico is correct. I've not heard anyone else say it. This is a really, really nice knife. I've been carrying it every single day since, and it's got a little bit of blade wear, but not much. We'll get to that. Anyway, if you would like to check out more from Arnaud Bernard, go check out African Sporting Creations. There's several of them, some without inlays, some with some really, really nice wooden inlays, and then of course there are various versions of carbon fiber, some with damaged steel. They get really, really nice, really spendy, but they are incredibly solid and very well built knives. Honestly, and I don't say this lightly, probably the smoothest button lock knife I've ever handled. And I'm saying that even having this Machine-Wise Sonora, which is incredibly smooth. This thing is ridiculous. So nice. This is not new. There was a recent drop, but that was the final drop. So I hate showing you things that you can't get, but this has been something that I've been after for a long time, something I've wanted for a long time. They are expensive for what they are. This is a utility knife. It is called the Shortcut. It's from Hawk Knives, and it is really, really nice. It's one of the coolest things that I own now. Did you see that? Did you see that? It flips open and flips shut. It's a little bit scary. I'm not gonna lie. I've come very close to what feels like maybe cutting the tip of my finger off. Man, it feels awesome. I'm doing this left-handed because I'm a little bit better with it with my left hand right now. So if you're not familiar with Hawk Knives, Gavin Hawk, he's created the Deadlock. We've talked about it previously in a Deep Cuts where there's a legal battle between Hawk Knives and Microtech over the Deadlock and a patent infringement. But this is the utility knife. I've been after it for a long time. The Shortcut, the only negative feedback that I have for this thing at all is that you need a T9 Torx to change the blade. Not the easiest blade swap. It's not hard, it's just you have to have that T9. Everything else on this thing is amazing. I love the clip also. So Gavin does this. They have this spring clip. I'm gonna call it a clothespin because that's what it makes me think of. But I love this clip and I wish more people would do that. I don't know if that's patented, but it's great. These are made in the USA. That's why they are $500-ish. But that was the last drop for the Shortcut. the one that happened last month or so. So unfortunately, you can't buy one of these unless you find it secondary. I got one and I wanted to show it on my show and tell. So here we go. And the last thing I want to show in show and tell here is my third knife design. So before this year, before 2025, I had designed, or at least released, 0 knife designs. Then we launched the Klingman earlier this year in the spring. We launched the Red Hawk in the summer. And now we have the Camp Mule. So this is the first carry commission knife. This is not branded by anybody else. This is our first in-house design, designed by me, and this is OEM'd by LT Wright Knife. We love those guys. They are amazing, and they knocked this out of the park. I did darken this blade, so this is not how they will come. In fact, how they will come is this. So we ordered natural micarta, and it came in this lighter version, and I actually really like how it turned out. But there was one, so we had a whole batch of them, and there was one that didn't match the rest, so I snagged it for myself, and I've already modified it because of course I did. But the Camp Mule will launch next week on Carry Commission. So if you are interested in this knife at all, be there, be quick, because we don't have a lot of them. It's our first run. We wanted to see how you guys like them. I personally freaking love this and how it turned out. It is A2, so we made this in a tool steel because I wanted it to patina. I did force patina this one with a little bit of vinegar and an onion. But this is the Camp Mule. So you have natural micarta handles, brass pins, brass tube, and A2 blade steel. And now, before I'm gonna head this off, because some people are gonna mention this, is this just a Knives by Nuge Wicket? Well, it's close. I'm not gonna lie, it is close. So what I did is I designed this thing sitting on my couch one night, and I was like, that's the knife I wanna make. That's the Carry Commission knife. And then I 3D printed it, I modeled it, 3D printed it, and I was like, this is it. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's a freaking Wicket. We obviously had a prototype made, but I took that 3D print, I ran into Tom at Blade Show, Texas, and I said, Tom, I did something and I need to run this by you. And I handed him that 3D print and he was like, oh, you designed a Wicket. I was like, damn, yeah. I was hoping you weren't gonna say that, but yeah, that's kind of what happened. And he was like, you designed a Wicket because the Wicket is extremely simple. He said, make your knife. So before you guys say I stole a design from Tom, no, he's fully aware of the Camp Mule. We've talked about it and he said, make your damn knife. So we have the Carry Commission Camp Mule. So it is not a Wicket. It's actually, it turned out a little bit bigger. The point of the knife drops a little bit lower than the Wicket. This has a much more gradual drop to it. This one's a much more, the whole knife is a lot more curved. It's got a little bigger handle. It is a different knife, but they are fairly similar. That was not intentional in any way, but the Wicket is an amazing knife. We just dropped a Wicket on Carry Commission also, but the Camp Mule is my third design. And I hope you guys like it because I really love how this turned out. It's a little bit big for EDC, but that's why it's called the Camp Mule. I didn't want to make another EDC fixed blade. I wanted something that you can carry it. I've been carrying it in my back pocket. You can pocket carry it. It does come with a leather sheath, not with a DCC. It actually comes with this Ulti right here. JRE Industries makes the sheath. So this comes as a package and it can be pocket carried, or you can throw it on some belt loops and you can obviously throw it on the belt, clip it to your strap on your backpack, however you want to carry it, but you do get an Ulti in the package. Those are dropping this coming week at Carry Commission. Like I said, you might want to be quick. We've come to the point of the show where we need to thank our channel sponsors who make all of this possible. Obviously, I appreciate you guys because I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you, but also we got to pay the bills, keep the lights on. First up, I want to thank Worksharp. Here's your reminder to use your shit and sharpen your knives. Very apropos to what we're talking about today. Go check out Worksharp for all of your sharpening needs and also for their knife. If you're interested in your knife, they have the Armex. It's really nice. It's one of my top knives of the year. And next I want to thank bigidesign. They're a huge supporter of what we do here. They are awesome people and they have a lot of really cool stuff for you to check out. EDC gear across the spectrum. So they have watches, knives, pens, and pocket tools. And all of these are new, coming out soon, or already available. We have the TI Daily Solar. So this is out now, limited to 300 pieces. This is their USA titanium lookout. So the lookout is one of my favorite EDC fixed blades. It's really, really nice. They've done titanium before, but those were in their Chinese production versions. This one is USA. It is Magna Cut, and they have these this nice stripe mill pattern. I like that a lot. Then we have a collaboration between bigidesign and Auxiliary Manufacturing for the pocket buoy in titanium. It's very nice, kind of chunky and heavy, really cool. Those come out Monday, December 8th. And then finally we have this. This is the TI Pocket Pro, but this is the USA version. These are also out now. So go check all of that stuff out. You can use my link in the description or the coupon code BDEDC for 10% off at checkout. I also want to thank Blade Binge. If you are not familiar with them, it is a secondhand marketplace for EDC goods. So knives and all sorts of other things, watches, there's all sorts of stuff. Materials, if you make knives, you can find that stuff on there as well. You can go sell or trade your goods. You have buyer protection, seller protection, and they also have a shop, so they do collaborations with other knife makers, with other manufacturers, and even designers or YouTubers here on the platform like Tri-State. They have the Tri-Stash. Go check them out. It's Blade Binge. There's a link down below, but also their retail side is Blade Binge Shop. And finally, I want to thank Carry Commission. Yes, that's my own store. If you're not familiar, we have an e-commerce store. We do all sorts of collaborations with really cool companies like LT Wright Knives on the Camp Mule that I showed you before. This is our first in-house design. These are launching this coming week. We just launched this. This is the Jack Wolf Canine Jack Carry Commission exclusive. This has a green G10 scale with a starburst pattern, tan liner, 154 cm blade with a satin finish. We have a checkered version of that, and we have all sorts of custom collaborations like some Protex and other LT Wright knives, all sorts of stuff. And we're a dealer for things like NAFs and Brodingham Expedition Works. Go check out Carry Commission. It is linked down below. Back to the whole I never use my gear topic of discussion. So this popped up a lot in my truck gift guide, my truck EDC video, the other gift guide that I did just last week. It pops up all the time. It's actually a very, very common comment that I get here on the channel. It's that I don't use my gear. Everything is always pristine. We've actually talked about this in a deep cuts before. There was a one we call, I think the title was like Everyday Carry is a Lie. The main topic of that one being that if you don't carry the same thing every single day, is it really everyday carry? Go watch that one if you want to hear my thoughts on that. But this comment that I never use my gear, it's so funny to me. There are a lot of people out there who think that I just sit at a desk all day, every day, and I never use any of my stuff. And there is a lot of truth to that. Years ago, I used to be in my shop all the time, making, building things, and I don't do that nearly enough anymore. I do spend a lot of time sitting at a desk, making these videos, running the store on Carry Commission, taking photos, editing those photos, making emails. I spend a lot of my time at a desk. I don't have a blue collar job. I'm not out there cutting straps and all sorts of stuff with my knives every single day. But this notion that I don't use my gear and that I'm afraid to use my gear, I want to keep it pristine, is actually honestly very funny to me more than anything, because there's this like sentiment here at the office when something comes in, like this Camp Mule, which just came in 2 days ago. The sentiment is always, don't take one yet. We need to get photos. If you take this, it will be destroyed before we get photos, because the first thing that happens every single time I get a new knife, immediately I either drop it, I get scratches all over it. This one's all scratched up. The reason you never see that in any of the photos is because I have this, like, maybe we'll call it OCD about dust and specks and things in the photos. I edit the absolute crap out of my photos to get the dust out of them, because they look way better if you just put in a little time to get the dust out. It's actually been a big topic of conversation here over the last 2 or 3 weeks. There's like 2 or 3 layers to this sentiment that I don't use my gear. Here is a perfect example. This has become one of my favorite knives of all time. This is the Schwartz Knives LT5. This is the knife that stays in my camp truck, the Bison. And you can see that I've used this. I've taken this out a few times on the Suffering with Salyer trip. I may have explained it before. I think I did. But I took this knife out. I've batoned wood. I've split a lot of wood with this knife. I've used this for a lot of different things, and I've just beat the crap out of this knife because I do love it so much. And this typically is the outdoor knife that I grab. This one or the UG Tools Tiny, which also kind of looks like this. It's got a lot more wear and tear on it. But when we're talking about the knives that I get, I probably have, I don't know how many hundreds of knives in the cabinet behind me. There's something new arriving, mostly every week, maybe a few times a week. And when I get something new, a lot of the time it goes straight in the pocket, and whatever's in the pocket, like this one, will get tossed to the side, and then that one doesn't see the light of day for a long time. Sometimes I'll come back to a knife I really, really like, but a lot of the times it's on to the next. And that is something I actually really don't love. I've kind of grown tired of that. I love, you know, sticking with one thing. So like my Red Hawk, my tactile knife company Red Hawk, my design, I've carried the absolute piss out of that knife, and it keeps getting back into the pocket. And my Red Hawks have a lot of wear and tear on them. Here's a perfect example. So a lot of the times when I take a picture of a knife, not only do I remove the dust, I will clean the knife before I take a picture of it. But here's a knife, my Unimzon. I don't remember the last time I carried this. It was obviously earlier this year because I got this at Blade Show. And this is how this knife went into the cabinet. There is gunk, there's a little bit of rust on it. There's some schmutz right here. I have no idea what I did to this knife and then threw it in the cabinet. It should probably be flits before I put it back in there now. And this is honestly fairly common. There's many times I reach in here, grab a knife out of there, and it's kind of gross and gunked up. So yeah, I don't necessarily take care of my stuff all that well. It is a very well-known thing around here, especially at the office, that if I get my hands on something, it is going to be scratched up and kind of not good for photos for like a launch on carry commission. But this also popped up in my truck EDC video or the truck gift guide that I don't know what I'm talking about. Everything is absolutely brand new. Not only am I getting new knives all the time, I get new tools. Klein sent me a box of tools to check out and try out, and I like them, I use them, but I haven't put them through their paces. I get new tools pretty freaking often, and that's not a brag, it's just the reality of it. When you are a gear reviewer, which I don't really review gear all that much, but when you do what I do, you get stuff. So these new tools that show up, they get used, but they're replacing tools that didn't just get beat to tar. They're tools that are just, I end up giving away to family and friends because I got the new tools, and those tools get used a little bit and then they get replaced by the new thing. It's just the nature of what I do. It's not a brag, it's just what it is. I test gear a lot and I get gear and then I give the gear away, or I keep it and I use it, but it doesn't all get like absolutely thrashed like a 30-year-old wrench. It is a thing that's very prevalent throughout the entirety of everyday carry. There are people who get nothing but Safe Queens. I have no qualms using the tool for whatever comes up. Does not matter to me if it's, you know, cutting strap or cutting through metal. I've cut through metal with this knife. It is what it is. I don't care. You sharpen the tool and move on with your day. But a lot of my EDC use and knives that I carry, the use that those knives see, a lot of it is boxes. And then where you see is usually tape or some scrapes, and then you wipe it off and it's gone. So most of the knives don't get as much use and time as something like this, which has become kind of a standout knife in my collection. This one is the one I go to all the time. When it comes to pocket knives, especially, that's not always the case. There's always something new and exciting, and I switch to that, and then, you know, a knife gets tossed back in the drawer. I just think it's really interesting to hear how different the people that I see on a daily basis in person feel about me getting my hands on gear, and then the people who watch these videos and don't know, you know, how different that perspective is. Maybe it's because I do keep things too clean because I edit out the dust, and, you know, maybe it's that. I just think it's really funny that the sentiment online is that I'm a desk jockey and don't ever get out and use my stuff. And I felt like I would address it here, so there. All right, it's time for the carry of the week, and this one comes from Logan Gibbons. There's one reason I chose that, I guess two really, but one that stood out to me, and then one I learned after he chose it, and I was like, yes, that makes a lot of sense. So first up in this photo, we have a drop AAA copper flashlight. So that's formerly mass drop. That is made by Lumentop. It is the copper version. There is a Craftsman Saber tool M4 that you can see in the center of the photo. The pen next to that is the Narwhal Co. pen. Then he has a Giltech Ruck V2 in copper, and then finally a Hitchin Timber Runt 2.0 underneath that. Logan says, I saw Taylor talk about a wallet carry, so I thought I would share mine. I have not forgotten about that, I promise. It's just been a crazy year. I know I always say that. I'm going to do it, I promise. But this is his wallet carry. I thought this was very neat. Copper was my mom's favorite metal, and I guess I picked up the affinity for it. This carry is definitely inspired by her. The wallet was a gift from her in her final year of life. My condolences. And I like that I can grab it and my phone and be out the door reasonably prepared. The flashlight was my first piece of copper gear from years ago. I have others, but I like that I can fit this one into the pin loop and operate the tail switch without removing it from the wallet. Also, flashlights in the tool pockets make these wallets bulky. Moving it to the loop makes it ride better. The Ruck is awesome. Pocket utility knives are a must, and the copper patina makes this one mine. I use it for tons of stuff like cutting stray strands, breaking down IKEA boxes, cutting down a memory foam mattress to fit in the camper, and opening beer. It's my workhorse. The Saber tool was found in my mom's junk drawer, and I love how thin it is for the pliers-based multi-tool, making it perfect for this kind of wallet carry. I'm the type of person that feels naked if they leave the house without pliers, so this setup is great for me. Too bad they don't make them anymore. I do not write regularly, but having a pen when needed is nice, and the Narwhal is so small and inconspicuous that keeping it in the wallet is easily worth it. Thanks for reading. Carry on. Well, Logan, that is really, really neat. And what caught my eye was actually that Saber tool. I'd never heard of it before. I saw it and I initially thought it was like one of those Swiss tools. And I saw the Swiss tool pop up on Reddit recently. There was a thread about those Swiss tools and how cool they were, or how everybody wishes they were better. Apparently, the Swiss tool pliers, everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? They fold down and you have pliers, and if you fold the legs up, you can use it, like clip it to your keys so that you don't lose it, right? Apparently, Swiss Tool used to make those, and they were much, much higher quality. And then, you know, obviously the ones you get now, the ones that everybody has, are kind of junk and a little bit useless. This looks like that, but very, very nice, and maybe even really useful. It's like not quite SOG power plant sized, but bigger and maybe a little bit better than that Swiss Tool. They're totally discontinued. They were made by Craftsman at one point. I don't know if this was not from Craftsman, because that just says Saber Tool, M4 Saber Tool, and it says USA on it. So USA made pliers that are small enough to carry like this. That's really neat. Nothing like that really exists now except for that Swiss Tool. So I chose this because the wallet carry, but also that multi-tool is really neat. And I don't want to say too much, but I might dip my toe into something. Yeah, that's all I can really say. But I kind of want to track down one of these Saber tools for myself now. So if anybody out there has a lead on one, there are some on eBay, but I'm not paying the crazy prices that they're listed for. So if anybody has a plug for a M4 Saber tool, hit me up. Logan did have one last thing. He said, obviously I need a copper pen. I just haven't justified the expense. I often look at the smallest copper pens and try to compare sizes in my head to see if they will fit in my carry. Perhaps if someone has handled the different brands and could give me a comparison or make a video about it. Wink. I used to carry a TPT slide, but it got replaced by the Ruck because copper. I see that there is a brass TPT slide on Carry Commission. Any chance of a copper one? Unlikely that we'll do copper. The ones we have are bronze, not copper or brass, they're bronze. But as far as pins, the smallest, slimmest pin that you can get, obviously, I'd say it has to go to Big Eye. The click pin or bolt action minis, those mini pins from Big Eye are the smallest that still come in copper, and they're skinny. A lot of the smaller pins kind of get wide. Anyway, thank you for sharing, Logan. If you would like to share your carry and possibly be in a future episode, go to edcw.co and submit your carry there. All right, now it's come to the point where I need to show you what's in my pockets because you guys always ask. So first up, we have the Arno Bernard Tarraco. That has been a mainstay in my pocket for a while now, as well as my camp mule. This is a new one to me as of 2 days ago. Do I need two of these? No, obviously. I have the Leatherman Arc. I have the Big Idea Design Pocket Pro in bronze, as well as a tech liner from Tie 2 Designs. This is the one with the dice, so you can roll the die, but also it's got a little bit of fidgetability to it because it has magnets. You guys can't hate me anymore, okay? You cannot hate me anymore, because I have a Gaslight Industries jerry can lighter in my pocket, and we finally launched. If you weren't paying attention, you missed it. However, I have it on very good authority because I'm the authority. We're doing another drop of these before Christmas. I can't promise we'll get them to you before Christmas, but we are going to drop them. The wallet never changes. It never changes. Carry Commission, Wilder collaboration hitchhiker. We have the Garmin Fenix 8 Pro on my wrist, which has been and still is my flashlight, because honestly, that's been good enough in most situations. Finally, we have arrived at the final segment of this show, the giveaway. Obviously, some stuff came up in November. We had gift guides that were priority. I had Gaslight Industries being launched. We did like, I don't know, 8 or 9 Carry Commission drops. It was a lot. November was a very, very busy month, so we didn't do the giveaway. We're rolling it over into December. If you have entered at all at this point since the last giveaway, which was at the end of October, you're entered, so no worries there. First up, we'll give away one of these Jack Wolf Knives Canine Starbursts, the collaboration with Carry Commission, a Pocket Pro from Big Idea Design. We'll do the Carry Commission Wilder Goods Hitchhiker Wallet in Honeycomb, as well as one of these Redeemed Creations Carry Commission Collaboration Collector's Folios. We haven't done these in like 2 years. And what the hell, we'll also do a Best Damn EDC TPT slide. All of that will go to one winner at the end of December. We may add to this, just keep watching the videos. And if you want to know how to enter that giveaway, if you've not already from a past video, but increase your odds by entering again, go check your email. The instructions for how to enter this are in your email right now. By the time you're watching this, those instructions are there. So go check your email. If you're not signed up, I'm sorry you missed the boat, but we will do another deep cuts before the end of the year, and there will be another chance to enter this giveaway and maybe have some more stuff in it. Maybe we'll throw in a flashlight, find some more to make a complete carry. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Everything you need to know is in the links down below or in the description down below. And also go check your inbox for instructions. If you did not get that email, maybe you should sign up for my email list. You can find the link to that also down below. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, carry on.